good. That's good. How are we all doing, folks? Welcome to Smell It Sunday. It is Sunday, and this is a show where we smell things, but we also talk about things. Smell It Sunday is a show where we talk about candles, we talk about similar interests that we have, whether it be about films, whether it be about music. Mainly it's about candles and aromatics. Really what it all boils down to, and I'm not even kidding when I say this, is that it's about nostalgia. It's about appreciating the things that are from our past, that make us happy. You know, sometimes when I smell a candle, I think, is it the candle that's making me feel nostalgic? Or is it me that's making me feel nostalgic and I'm just being triggered by that candle? That's a nice little philosophical question if you think about it for a little bit. That's the wrong mug. I got two mugs today. I have my official limited edition Candle Enthusiast mug available on eBay if you want to help support the cause being the Candle Enthusiast channel. We got a lot of traveling to do this holiday season, and I'm including autumn phase 1, and I'm including Halloween in that holiday season. But I also have a second mug. Well, that's not very interesting, but if I flip it around, it's Great Escape Fun Park, Lake George. This is an old mug. Great Escape, if you don't know, was purchased by the Six Flags Company in 1989, and before it was known as Great Escape, kind of a thrill ride park, it was more of a Disneyland inspired park. And if I'm not mistaken, I always get it mixed up. I believe it was called Storybook Land, or something to that effect. And it was more of Cinderella and Peter Pan, and they were trying to capitalize on all the Walt Disney films without any copyright infringements. But to more important matters, today we have a lot to talk about. I have a lot on the table. I don't know if you can see this. Let me kind of roll. Whoa, that's the wrong valve, the wrong dial on the tripod. We have a lot of stuff on the table. We have Yankee Candle bags, we have USPS boxes, we have random candles, we have coffees, we have waters, we have Garfield. I thought I'd bring out Garfield. Hey Kazra, how we doing? I thought I'd bring out Garfield for a little, help him celebrate his 40th anniversary. Did you know it was Garfield's 40th birthday? I think that's a pretty cool, fun fact. But for those of you who are new to the channel, you probably think I'm a madman already. I always try to start off the show being a little bit less enthusiastic than I normally am. And that's because I don't want to freak you out. But I do have some Yankee Candle semi-annual sale products that I purchased that I would like to show you. But more importantly, in my opinion, I have the eighth 2018 Fall Yankee Candle fragrance. Now, if you haven't checked out my prior videos, I've evaluated, I reviewed, I've given my analysis, I've given my sensory evaluation, call it what you will. But I shared my thoughts, my opinions, some of my opinions, but mainly my just kind of objective sensory evaluation of the first 7 of the eventual 8. Hello, Mark. Autumn candles for 2018. Now, only 4 have been officially released. Some of them are popping up in stores. Enchanted Moon, a lot of people have their hands on. But there's one that will not be coming out till very late August. Probably it will correspond with the Halloween preview party, which is August 25th. And I have it, and I want to give a huge shout out to a fan, a viewer, a supporter, a loyal supporter, Industrial Wasteland, better known as, well, Chris, better known as Industrial Wasteland here on YouTube. He actually sent me the candle, found it, and shipped it to excuse me, my voice went up. Shipped it to me from Oklahoma. How is the lighting? I don't like it. I'm gonna adjust it. I'll be right back. All right, it's coming. I'm coming. How's that? Is that a little bit better? It's not really better at all, is it? But anyway, so we have candles that talk about Yankee Candle. First thing is, I haven't been drinking coffee for a while, so I've been slowly having a little bit more coffee here and here because I really was missing it, but mainly I've been drinking my water. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because, has anyone seen this? I'm a huge coffee enthusiast, let's put it that way. I'm not an aficionado, but when I talk about coffee, I take it very seriously. That does not mean I do not enjoy Starbucks. And Starbucks recently put out this brand new collection. They're calling it Chapter 1 Origin Coffee, meaning that it's not necessarily single origin, but it's coming from one place, that place being a very large spectrum of Sumatra. And you know how I feel about packaging. They put it in this poster tube looking thing, right? And I couldn't say no to that. Look at that artwork. Yeah, that's good stuff, right, Mark? That's good stuff. But let's face it, we're not here to talk about coffee, but I did want to show this to you. So I'll put that over there. And that's what I'll be sipping on in my Lake George Great Escape mug. But I'll be counteracting the coffee to hydrate myself with the official Candle Enthusiast Mary Tyler Moore show inspired mug. We have Anthony from Candle Cafe in the house. Can we give a warm welcome to Anthony and all of the joy his videos have given to us? And if for some reason you're not subscribed to Candle Cafe or Anthony, I highly recommend you do so. He's really one of the most. I've said this before, and I hope he knows that this is an absolute positive remark. He's kind of like the Bob Ross for me of the candle evaluators, reviewers on YouTube, in that you could just listen to him. You don't even have to be paying attention, but just having his videos on in the background, very soothing, very relaxing. But he actually has an amazing nose and knows his stuff. So if you really want to learn about candles, if you want to learn about not just how to say, ooh, this candle, it smells nice. Ooh, it smells lovely. I wish you could smell this candle. But if you really want to learn the in-depth techniques that it takes and the words and the vocabularies of how to systematically break down the aromatic profile of a candle, I highly recommend you check out Anthony. And I hope it's okay with Anthony too that I think we finally, Anthony and I have a little collaboration finally in the works. I hope that's not a premature statement. And speaking of that, Anthony, I have something to show you. I had to, a part of our collaboration, I needed to go get some candles together. Now, I'm not going to spoil what the collaboration is. Where is it? I think it's in here. Yeah, okay. So, from Mellisa Brown of Scent Pop Candle Company, I'm not going to show you, Anthony, the candle, but she sent me some stuff too, or she sent me something, I don't know what. And so I'll start by opening this. We're gonna do a little bit of unboxing, and then we're gonna get to Yankee Candle in just a second. But as long as we have Anthony here, this is kind of relevant. I can't figure out how to operate this box. Come on. Look at this. And the reason why I know this is because I prematurely opened up this package. Look at this. for Anthony, for you. Again, Scent Pop Candle Company. I am a huge fan of this Etsy-based company, very small batch company, but what that means is Melissa's super passionate. Everything she has sent my way, everything I've purchased from Scent Pop Candle Company has been super delicious. And by scent pop in that a lot of pop culture references. So her movies are based on, she's got Disney collections, she's got television sitcom collections, she's got like things like Game of Thrones candles. She's got so many interesting themes when it comes to candles. So I will not show, there's clearly something here for Anthony. I'm not gonna show that, because we got to keep that a surprise for now. But that does not mean I can't open what is in this box for me. I really don't know what this one is, because I opened the box for the package, but I have not opened this. Aha. Oh man. I know some of you Disney fans out there are going to be a little bit jealous right now. Everything right now, it seems like every candle company, am I wrong, seem to be releasing mermaid-themed candles, right? We got Bath and Body Works, right? Don't they have I know that there's at least Mermaid Lagoon that's been brought to my attention. And Mermaid Lagoon is really cool because that's somewhat in reference to the Mermaid Lagoon in Neverland, Peter Pan, right? It's where the mermaids hang out. But also Spireside, Spireside is a Disney-themed candle company. They released three Little Mermaid, again, Little Mermaid-themed candles without any copyright infringements for Disney. But it is a Hans Christian Andersen story. Anyway, so it's you can avoid those copyright infringements. But it looks like Scent Pop Candle Company is getting in on the action. We have Part of Your World. Let me move it over here. Part of Your World by Scent Pop Candle Company. I am going to, of course, I can never do a full in-depth evaluation of these candles on a live video, but that does not mean I cannot smell it. There's fragrance notes on this jar, but I'm not gonna look at those. I'm gonna try to explain this candle in a little bit more of an emotional fashion. Woo! Very, very tropical. Elsa, my dog, she's looking at me and she's like, what are you talking about? Can I smell that? Can I taste it? Can I eat that? You can't eat this, Elsa. We have a little bit of that floral freesia kind of thing, you know, a little bit of that clean, floral, citrusy smell that we find in not cleaning products, but like deodorizers, like deodorizers. A little bit of that fresh freesia. Remember a Mediterranean Sea Yankee Candle 2 years ago, springtime? Big time freesia and lemon in that candle. And speaking of citrusy, that is going to have a big lemon component too. Zest and juice because it is tart. And kind of like a creamy, how do I want to say this? Creamy coconut. This smells, I'm turning every candle these days into beverages, but this is almost like a beverage I would want to drink. This is kind of like a tropical fruits, mango, papaya, puree beverage, maybe with some sparkling waters added to that, with some garnished citrus zest. And there's definitely a green component. I'm trying to think of something a little bit original, but I can't get the sea out of my mind. The kelp, the seagrass. I'm gonna call this something like I'm gonna say lemongrass, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy with that description. This is a candle I would need to sit down with for a while. Aha. Dang. Okay. Ding dang. All right. So on the fragrance notes, Ariel's sea salt. Definitely that sea salt brine-like saline quality to this candle. Sometimes, you know, if you're describing a candle and it smells salty, people don't like, say, I don't want my candle to smell salty. A good way to change it up is, you know, say like a fresh sea breeze saline quality. Maybe that's not so great either. I used to say in the wine industry, instead of using the word salty, I'd use brine-like. People definitely didn't like that, because you think of brine, you think of like sauerkraut and pickles, but really what I mean by that is just a solution of salt. Elsa, she's getting impatient. She may have to go in. So Ariel's sea salt cucumbers, definitely. That is that green component that I really wish that I had picked up on. Pepino melon, so that tropical fruit, citron zest, and musk. Musk, but you know, I have a feeling a lot of people associate musk, I say this all the time, musk and masculine. This is not a masculine musk, this is a very clean, delicate, in my opinion, feminine musk. More of a floral musk than anything at all. So a part of your world, because Ariel always wanted to be a part of our world, and there it is, and beautiful, beautiful color to match this theme. What do you guys think? I don't even have you guys pulled up on my computer. How did you guys let me forget that? I can't read your comments. I was gonna go on our secondary channel today, but I thought since we have a lot of new subscribers in the house, I want to show them what the live channels, the Smelled Sundays, are all about. Usually I'm on my, like I said, second channel. If you're not subscribed, new folks, we have a second channel and it's called Aromatically Speaking. Make sure you check that out. Because, again, sometimes these nice Sunday afternoons lead us off candles and we get into richer, more nostalgic conversations, and it really becomes interesting. But I think some people that want to keep it strictly candles sometimes get a little frustrated. So I decided to make a second channel to isolate these lives. All right, we got a nice full house here. Look at everybody. All of my YouTube friends in one place. And Anthony, I just want to read your comments. So cool, Shane, can't wait. Yes, finally. Anthony, I've been talking about a collaboration for a long time. And Carol says, adore Aroma. I wonder if she's talking about, or Odor Aroma, excuse me, Odor Aroma. Odor as in aromatic. Okay, let's keep it going. We got Rianne in the house from the EPC family. She's become a part of the Candle Enthusiast bubble. I call it the bubble. Eric, my brother, a vlogger, he calls it the family. All right, so let's keep this going. But Michelle, if by chance you are watching, thank you very much for supplying these candles. She's always very generous in sharing her products, and even better, she makes great stuff. So do me a favor, do me a small little solid. Go over to Scent Pop Candle Companies. What is her Instagram? It's at Scent Pop Candles. Go over, say hello, share some love, subscribe if you like, leave a comment, leave a message, something to the effect of like, hey, you know what? Just saw your candles featured on the Candle Enthusiast, and if you like them, if you think this is pretty cool, tell Mellisa you said so. I know it would mean a lot to her. It would mean a lot, and not only that, but hopefully we can work out a promo code. I'm always saying this, the more candle companies know that we're talking about them, the better opportunity we have a chance to have promo codes in the future. So this way you can save money on shipping. If you want to buy bulk orders, there's always ways to save money. Now, Anthony, if Anthony's still here, this one, that one's for you, buddy. That's going to be kept secret for a little bit. But this one's for me. I'm going to evaluate this. I guess this is me now officially announcing it. I did a Beauty and the Beast themed video last year, and I have a lot of Disney themed candle videos coming up. But I have a rather in-depth Little Mermaid video. I love Little Mermaid. I am a 33 going on 34-year-old man. And I am fully all right mentioning that Little Mermaid is not only a staple of cinematic history, but I just like it a lot. All right, good coffee, but I need to drink some waters. Where is the H2O? Let's move on. We got more packages to open, but let's do some Yankee Candle. So now that we have a lot of people now dropping in, I wanted to wait till we had a full house, which we do. Who wants to see Blue Twilight Storm? What's Blue Twilight Storm, you ask? Blue Twilight Storm is that 8th autumn candle. I'm a total sucker for Snow White, but I must say Moana has stolen my heart. Anthony, I am right there with you. There's something about the fact that she is a Voyager, a descendant of Voyagers, right? That has struck my heart. Moana has stolen my heart. Moana, I have a little ornament that hangs in my car. Moana travels with me every time I get in my car, when I go on my travels, whether it's for work or whether it's for the Candle Enthusiast. There's always been in that passion in my heart to go out and explore. And Moana has, I relate to Moana because she's not a homebody. She likes to travel. So do I. The Moana soundtrack is on another level and a tearjerker at times. Anthony, again, I may be losing my subscribers by saying this, but yes, I cried. I cried with my brother. My brother was sitting next to me. No shame. I had like a 6-year-old girl sitting next to me in the movie theater. First time I saw Moana, I was holding back the tears. And it's in large part because of the music. Shame-free zone. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. You know, it's a very moving motion picture. All right, so Blue Twilight Storm. How have I been talking about this candle? I promised you that this label is like a frame stolen right out of It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And I'm not lying. I still have a full in-depth evaluation of this candle coming up. I wanted to have it done already, but you know how I am. Things pile up. And I figured since it's an all-new candle, what is the major rush anyway? But this really is, if you are a fan of It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, who cares if you like the scent or not? Who cares? I guarantee you, the label alone is going to be worth the price of admission. And I know what all of us are going to say, but before we even talk about the European label, just give this one a look first. Whew. Here we go. Now remember, these videos, and this is not good. These videos, these live videos don't provide us with the best lighting. Hold on, I think I can combat this. I've come prepared today. Yeah, baby, yeah. See, I got you guys covered. It may not be super high resolution, but we are literally sitting on the ground of the pumpkin patch. And tell me, like this, it looks like Linus pulled a Polaroid camera out of his back pocket, or he wouldn't have a cell phone. He probably wouldn't have had a Polaroid camera either, but it looks like from his point of view, he has snapped a shot of that glorious night where he, Sally, and Snoopy waited for the great pumpkin out in the pumpkin patch. So not only do we have the pumpkin patch in the foreground, and I love the fact that we're all the way on the ground, right? This is not like a shot that's taken from like a tripod. I mean, this is all digitally probably put together. However, what's most striking to me is that sky. Easily one of my favorite parts of It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, as far as the animation style, are the backgrounds. If you are an animation nerd, you'll know that there is such a thing as a background artist, somebody who just creates the backgrounds, paints, or I guess now in these days digitally creates the background artwork. And in The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, unlike Charlie Brown's Christmas, which was made a year prior, the backgrounds were done in watercolor, and that was just not something that was done in those days. 1966, I believe, was the release of It's the Great Pumpkin, or at least when it aired. And that sky has the same color palette. It looks identical to the sky that we see in The Great Pumpkin, and not just necessarily when Linus is sitting in the pumpkin patch, but remember the sequence when Snoopy, the world-class flying ace, is roaming the countryside, and there's those beautiful shots of the silhouette of Snoopy with the sky behind him. We have colors of deep eggplant purple, magenta, pink, amber, gold. We have deep, deep charcoal gray. There is this mishmash of wonderful watercolor-like sky. And to me, this pulls at my heartstrings. I can't take it. I don't even need to smell it. Send me a case, Yankee Candle. I've talked about this year how I've actually been a fan of the US label. Don't hate me for saying this, but I've been a fan of the US labels over the European labels, excuse me. But I do think this might be one exception. I will have to get this candle in the European label, and that's not as easy as it sounds, because they're now being produced in the Czech Republic, which means I will have to have it imported. I could be wrong about that, but the summer candles at least were produced in abroad, so I did have to have them imported. But either way, we're getting most of the photograph there, and it is cropped, but not much. And just like Enchanted Moon, we're seeing a little bit more of the sky. Woo! So what are you guys thinking? I'm gonna read some of your comments before I go over the aromatic profile. And we were talking about Moana, and Nancy throws in, guess what? I got tickets to Hamilton. Good for you. That's not a side note. Please, I'm glad you shared that. Would love to see Hamilton. Does anyone not know the relationship between Moana and Hamilton? If someone doesn't understand the relationship, somebody fill that person in. Mark's got to run to a barbecue. I'm guessing he's got meats, animal proteins to tend to. I don't know, maybe he's roasting corn. I don't know. Really curious for your opinion on this one, Shane. Over the past few years, there's been a major shift towards conceptual candles, and the names that are not tangible or obvious as what they will smell like. I will back Anthony's statement up by saying I think we all looked at Dazzling Red Maple last year, and we're like, oh man, this is gonna be like a cedar / hardwood maple maple syrup autumn leaves explosion. And it turned out to be something a little bit more floral. I think floral would be the main category I would put it in. You had a lot of, they listed it as neroli, but neroli is really just orange blossom. So it had a citrusy neroli perfume quality. It did have wood notes, but it was more of a clean kind of sandalwood, fresh timber kind of smell. So a big kind of disjointed aroma compared to the label. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of that. I'm always okay with surprises. But then you had things like this year, Enchanted Moon. Anthony, I don't think I read your Instagram take on Enchanted Moon. But I don't believe you posted a review or given your full in-depth analysis on it. But as much as I like Enchanted Moon, I kind of feel it's the same thing. It's a beautiful label, it's a beautiful fragrance, but it's a little bit disjointed from how I believe it's being promoted as far as it being an autumn candle. I think it matches the label, but it being an autumn candle is kind of strange. Much more of a summer candle to me. So, Blue Twilight Storm. I have the fragrance notes, but I don't need them. Okay, so right away, I have smelled this briefly, and because it's a little bit warm out here, it's really throwing off some aromatics, so I don't need to keep the lid open that much. Right there, when I just popped the lid, I almost felt like I walked into like a new age shop. Elsa's really getting upset. Elsa, come here. Say hello to everybody. Say hello, and then I'm gonna let you inside, okay? All of her toys are inside, but she does want to say hello. This is the Queen of the Snowflakes, Elsa, Queen of Arendelle. Her hair is getting longer, so she's not so embarrassed about being in front of the camera, but I did have to shave her down quite a bit. Say hello. She's never shy, but when I put her in front of the camera, she becomes shy. Go inside. Good girl. Her buddy, Boo is inside. So I think that's what she's crying about. Back to Blue Twilight Storm. All right, so back. I feel like I'm walking into that new age shop. So a lot of those kind of mystical aromas that we smell, those resinous aromas that we smell in those new age shops. If you ever spent time in Salem, like I do, you walk into these shops where they have a lot of candles, and they sell kind of raw ingredients, like dried herbs and things of that nature. But I can't get out of my mind how this is kind of I don't like to do this. I don't like comparing candles with candles, but I know you guys like it. So crisp fall night. It has a crisp fall night in that it has that lavender, it has that oak moss, it has that peppercorn, it has that richness, that spiciness, it has that resinous balsam, right? It's dominant on the foundation side of this candle, right? Because the base notes are really coming through. And as far as wood, I'm getting it now. There is, I think we could probably leave it off as balsam, the resinous, sweet balsam, but I want to throw in pine or coniferous tree, pine cone, you name it. We could go blue spruce. I'm forgetting if anyone's got the fragrance notes for this candle, I don't think the fragrance notes are released, but Yankee Candle's description of this candle is out there. It has, if anyone could pull that up, it'd be huge, huge plus. And I'm always afraid to say it, but I've been saying it a lot, and I'm hoping people understand that when I say patchouli these days, I don't mean witch's brew. This doesn't smell like witch's brew, but when it comes to an outdoor themed candle, a candle that's going to bring you outside, patchouli is a wonderful mixing fragrance because it gives you earthiness, it gives you herbaceousness, it gives you woodsiness, and that is what this candle is doing in all three parts. But there is a bright side. I have to give a huge high five to, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, a huge high five to Philly Candleman. Philly Candleman is another reviewer. If you're not familiar with him, make sure you go by, say hello, subscribe, listen to what he has to say. Very positive guy who reviews all different sorts of candles. But he was kind of, I don't know if it was speculation or if he had come to the conclusion that this was a repackage of City Lights. And I said I wasn't going to mention that. I won't mention it in my review because I don't want to throw people off. But I do see that there are a lot of similarities. The way this candle is different from City Lights is that I felt like those base notes, those rich notes, the balsam, the cedar, the spruce, the patchouli, I felt like that anchored the candle, and there wasn't much going on up here. This has higher frequencies of citrus, brighter notes, fruitier notes. So does this smell like a pumpkin patch? Does this smell like pumpkin spice? No. I think what's important to realize is this is much more of an atmospheric candle, a candle like Crisp Fall Night, a candle like Over the River, which in my opinion is very similar to Crisp Fall Night. This paints a poetic / literal portrait of that feeling of being out in the evening when autumn is in full bloom, the winds, I was almost saying winds from the east, but like Dick Van Dyke, but I quote him too much. But there's something wicked this way comes, and in this case, there is this blue Twilight Storm, and I don't, another word I don't usually like to use a lot is ozone, because I never used to really understand. I think that the word ozone is used too much. Used when like citrus is used, it's used when saltiness is used. Ozone is more of that crisp, clean, vague chlorine smell. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Yankee Candle includes ozone in their description notes or fragrance notes for this candle, because it has that, ooh, there is a storm brewing and there's something coming this way. With that, there is a little bit of that kind of sea salty air, that fresh, clean air of, we talked about how Yankee Candle defines and creates clean air. That's always going to be a mixture of something a little bit floral, a little bit citrusy. So I'm all over the board here, but really I think that's because I think it's a testament to the complexity of this candle. Now, something I don't address, and I need to start addressing it, because I understand that a lot of people have just been asking me, why don't I talk about candles when I burn them, or the intensity of candles. So I sometimes, most of the time, talk about the intensity of a candle on cold sniff, and this is going to fall somewhere in the medium range. This is not a huge, I mean, remember, this is an outlet candle. I will give you that. Blue Twilight Storm notes include black sesame, patchouli, and balsam. Well, here you go. If that is the case, I couldn't find those. But the Ford family is saying Blue Twilight notes include black sesame, patchouli, and balsam. Guess what? City Lights from it was made for the pop-up storefront in New York City last year, but is available on the US website right now. That candle has those three fragrance notes as well. But I'll stand by my word. For the exception, I'm giving myself a little bit of wiggle room because this is an outlet candle. I don't think this is exactly the same as City Lights. Is it close enough? It is close enough, but honestly, I think it's a little bit better. I think it's a little bit better. I think it's has a little bit more strength. I don't think you have to struggle as much to smell it. So if you do want something that's a bit more strong, and if you have a choice between this candle and City Lights is just a collectible candle. We're gonna look back in 5 years, and if you don't own one, people are gonna be like, man, I wish I bought one, because it's gonna be selling for a lot of money on eBay. So I highly recommend you get one, or two City Lights. And I highly recommend you get it in the house warmer, just my opinion. But in my opinion, my humble opinion, whether this is a repackage by Yankee Candle, I'm getting more of that kind of that new age shop, you know, the ingredients that folks use in like dragon blood, right? Very resinous. Dragon blood is not a fragrance oil. It's a mixture of, it's a proprietary blends from one company to another, but it's a mixture of resins. A lot of candle companies have a candle called Dragon's Blood. They all smell a little bit different, but I'm getting a lot of those resinous qualities in here. So for me, again, so woody, sweet, resinous, with a very nice contrasting brightness of citrus to this candle. I will give my full in-depth evaluation. I'll help paint a portrait for you, but I think Yankee Candle has already done that by showing us this really lovely label. When will this arrive? Well, if any of you guys, Fort family, if you know, you seem to be in the know, because I don't know how you got that description. That was not the description that I found. Bums me out that I didn't find that. If anybody else knows when this will be hitting the stores, I'm guessing this is going to be very similar to Moonbeams on Pumpkins last year, which was, again, it kind of coincided with the Halloween preview party, so late August, early September, you'll be able to find this candle. In fact, though, I really think that, I don't know why they wait so long. I don't know why they wait. Why do they wait till everybody has purchased all of the other autumn candles, and then the last candle they released, they're like, oh man, that's the one I really wanted. But to be clear, there is no pumpkin spice here. This is not Moonbeams on Pumpkins. There's no pumpkin bread. This is not, mom's home-baked goods in the oven. This is not bakery. This is not pumpkin spice latte. This is not Starbucks. This is an atmospheric candle. Put this in the category. Put this on the shelf next to Crisp Fall Night. Put it next to City Lights, I suppose. Put this next to Over the River. Put this next to Autumn Gathering. That's where this candle belongs. Man, and if I haven't mentioned it, this candle right down my alley. Who likes what I said? If the candle smells like what I said, I jumped all over the place. Is this a candle for you, or would you wish it would be more like something like Moonbeams on Pumpkins, or Sugared Pumpkin Swirl, something that was a little bit more pumpkin forward? Okay, Kazra asked this question, I think the other day, and I didn't get the chance to answer him. Will you do Aroma Prison for this one? You haven't done it in a while. Really helps with purchasing decisions. If anyone doesn't know what Aroma Prison is, it's a little system I've designed where I take a tart, a melt cup, I take votive. I take 5 ounces or a small portion of that small format candle and I put it into a mason jar. Lock the mason jar, put that into not boiling but hot water to the point where that wax melts. What will happen then is the fragrance oils will volatilize, right? Meaning the liquid fragrance oils will become vapor and they'll be locked in that jar so that when you unlock the jar and smell it, you'll get that representation of what the candle will smell like in its airborne state. The reason why I don't burn candles, like say burn a candle in my living room and I just smell, not that I think that, I mean, really, what else can anyone do? But the problem with that is desensitization, right? After a couple moments of smelling that fragrance, our noses adapt, they become fatigued, and they don't recognize the subtleties of the smell. So being able to smell, put this away, lock it, allows your nose to register, your mind to work, but to isolate the smell something else. I can smell my arm, I can smell a cup of coffee, readjust my nose, and then go back to it. Same principles as wine tasting and wine evaluation. But if you burn a candle in a room, how often does this happen? You burn a candle and you're like, I can't smell my candle, but you leave the house or leave the room. Hopefully you're not leaving the house, but you leave the room and you come back in and then suddenly you smell it again, right? It's because you're giving your nose a chance to readjust. That is why I don't do, one of the reasons why I don't do my evaluations of burning candles. But the aroma prison really helps me do this. Hopefully one day I will build an aroma chamber. It'll still be called a prison, but Yankee Candle has what they call burn rooms. And it's a room that is, it's really airtight, and it allows you to burn a candle inside so it can fill up with its fragrance, and then they can open a door. If anyone's seen the Undercovered Boss special, you know what I'm talking about. They can open the door and kind of smell the isolated smell of the candle and then close that door. But the other thing with, and I'll be perfectly honest, this is a very controversial topic. The other reason why I don't evaluate the burning of candles, and I think if you watch other reviewers, I have nothing bad to say about anybody. I think so please don't mistake me when I say this, but I think that you'll notice a large variance from people saying, this candle gave a good throw, and then you watch somebody else and be like, I couldn't smell this candle at all. And I don't want to start having these conversations, because in my opinion, from my research, and my research is backed by physics and chemistry and science, not by opinion. From my research, 99% of a candle's performance, or let's say 95% of the time a candle's performance is not up to par. It's the environment, it's the variables in the environment, in the room that it's in your climate, in the temperature, in the humidity, in the air pressure, in the temperature differentiations from the bottom of the room to the top of your room. Do you have a window open? Is there a draft? All of these things become a variable, and to be a critic or a judge of a candle's intensity or throw, a word that really has no scientific merit, really. And I don't want to aggravate anybody, but throw is not a word that's used in the perfume world, the cologne world. It's not used in the candle world. As far as, candle companies, they do not use this word because there's no way to define what the word throw means. There's carry. How far, if I burn this candle, how far will the carrier oil carry the fragrance? Meaning, will this go from 1 room to 2 rooms? Will it go from 5 feet to 10 feet? That's a definable scientific word. But throw really is a blanket topic of intensity. And I think just by labeling it throw creates more confusion and it discourages people from wanting to fix the problem or finding out what the root of the problem is. Do some candles perform weakly? Yes. Are some people okay with that? I like lighter smelling candles. I do. I do. Not all the time, but I think sometimes it's perfectly called for. If this candle was overwhelmingly, bombastically powerful, I don't know if I'd enjoy it. But if it was a nice smooth linger in my house or my apartment or my bedroom or my bathroom, right? Then it's fun, right? To me, that is my personal opinion, how I enjoy candles. I don't want to be, I don't want to have a sledgehammer to the head of fragrance every time I walk into a room, nor do I want my guests who visit me in my house to have that experience. I don't want to impose a monstrous fragrance upon them. So if you want monstrous fragrances, there's a lot of methods, a lot of techniques that you can discover how to burn your candle to achieve that thing. The amount of oils in a candle does not dictate the throw of the candle. I could increase. Am I losing people here? Am I losing fans, or am I gaining some kind of scientific respect? If I double the amount of fragrance oils in this candle right now, will this candle have a better throw? No. There's a good chance you won't smell it at all, because the ratio of wax and oil does not dictate the power of the candle. On cold sniff, sure, but when you burn it, sometimes there could be too much oil in it, where that oil will not volatilize, it will not carry, it will not travel. So I just want to pose that, and I want to pose that there's a lot of science, and in my opinion, burning candles these days is a little bit more of an artwork. But when people say that they have trouble with the throw of Yankee candles and they don't smell anymore, it kind of bums me out, because, like I said, 95% of the problem, 95% of the time, I don't have an issue at all. I have no qualms. So I kind of stay out of that conversation, that argument, until the day that I'm ready to address it. Let's move on. Do you have a favorite wick candle? Seize the day. What do you mean by that? Do I have a favorite wick candle? Oh, as far as format, I am a house warmer guy. House warmers don't they don't output the fragrance that one of these 2-wick tumblers do. They just don't do it. However, they last longer. In my opinion, they look better. In my opinion, and I do like a slower burn. I like my candles to last a long time. When I buy a candle, I don't want to finish it in 2 weeks or a week. I want it to be on my shelf for as long as it possibly can. I have candles that I've started to burn that are still in my collection that have been there for 10 years. Why is it more of an art these days? It's more of an art these days because if we fast forward the clock, we went back to the 90s. There were a lot of nasty things that were in candles, right? Now, the candle companies are not going to come out and tell us this. They're not going to say, ooh, there were toxic things in the candles, and we were probably poisoning you. But quality control, the technology has changed. A lot of the additives, a lot of the compounds, a lot of the ingredients, the quality of the wax is increasing. The quality of the fragrance oil is increasing. Plus, let's face it, Yankee Candle, let's single out Yankee Candle, for example. It's a rapidly growing company, right? So they probably are trying to produce candles that are more cost efficient. So less fragrance oil, less essential oils are being used. Essential oils are actually derived from the actual thing that it is, right? If I have a blueberry essential oil, the oil is made from blueberries. A fragrance oil can be a synthetic oil that smells like blueberries. You see what I'm saying? So these days, fragrance oils instead of essential oils, there's a little bit higher on the fragrance oils. So with that said, is because candles are healthier these days, because the wicks are healthier these days, the candle industry is adapting, and it's because it's safer. Um, a lot of these old-fashioned techniques don't these candles don't perform as well as they used to. I mean, it's not like set it, forget it, go ahead, don't have to watch it. Sometimes these candles, and the reason why it's more of an art form is that you do have to keep your eye on it. You do have to look at it. You do have to say, you know what, this is not burning right. I'm not getting the fragrance that I prefer. It's not burning appropriately. You know, the wax is putting out too much soot. The wick is maybe burning too quickly or too slowly. The flames are too high, or perhaps too low, or the candle is not getting warm enough. So when I say it comes to an art form, you really have to come up with several different techniques. You have to kind of figure out a place in your house where the natural air current is not strong, right? If there's a draft, right? Like say if I light a match right now and let that match blow it out and that smoke twirl, it's gonna suck right outside of these screens. Why? Because the air pressure outside is much higher than it is in here. If you ever lit a match inside of a running vehicle and you roll down the window, what happens? The smoke flushes right outside of the window. But if you stop the vehicle, lit that match, blew it out, the vehicle's not moving, but you roll down the window, unless it's really windy outside, that smoke stays in the cabin of the car. So if it's windy outside and if there is some form of window open, a lot of your fragrance could be ending up outside. You could be, you know, making your neighbor's day a little bit more aromatic than your own. So things like tiny little fog machines I've used to test in my different assortment apartments to find out where is the vapor going? Where does it want to go? Does it travel to the ceiling? Does it kind of mushroom cloud? So it takes a lot of experimentation as far as getting a proper burn. You always want to make sure that glass is very, very warm, not hot, but warm. That is the biggest problem as far as candles not pooling out properly. If you have cold glass here, it's never going to pool out. If it's taking your candle 3 hours to fully pool out, I'm not saying that's a problem, but you can fix it. All of these things I would love to share. All of these discoveries and my personal data I would love to share. You have to understand, every time I've done this on this channel, it's created a little bit of a controversy because, you know, I think people take candle burning very personally, and I don't ever want to come off as a know-it-all or an authority on candles. I just know what works for me. I've experienced candle burning problems in my lifetime, and I've systematically figured them out. I don't know, maybe one day I'll write a little handbook or something. But it is an art form in that every candle, even if it's from the same company, demands a little bit of extra attention. You gotta kind of keep your eye on it and see, well, how is this burning? Do I need to put an aluminum lid on? I put a cozy on mine. I showed this recently on the Facebook fan group, the Candle Enthusiast Facebook fan group. I take like a 1980s leg warmer sock. You know, if you go to like a dollar store, you can find one of those nice big puffy socks, and I put it on a candle like a cozy, right? I don't put it anywhere near the top, right? That's a fire hazard. But what that'll do is keep the heat on the glass more than you would think, to the point where when you touch the glass, you're like, it's kind of hot. That will make sure that you're giving your candle an equal melting experience. It won't be tunneling, it won't be concaving. Okay, so that's that. Very good question, Anne-Marie. I'm glad you asked that. And I fully expect a lot of you folks to disagree with a lot of what I'm saying. And Angie Clementine, she's not in the house. She is a chemical engineer, so I always pick on her for delivering the facts. But the truth is, I do have some chemical engineers, very close friends. Actually, my very closest friend is a chemical engineer who works for ExxonMobil. Angie is here. Angie. So does that mean I got to start picking on you? But he works for ExxonMobil down in Houston. And whenever I have questions like this, he's amazingly able to deliver on the information, whether his own knowledge or he knows who to put me in contact with to figure out your friend works for Exxon. Yes, I know. He's happy. He's happy with his life. Trust me, he gets all of the heckling. I'll let him get the heckling. I love milk cups sometimes too. Sometimes they're a little too strong. Oh, Angie says she works for a competitor. I see. Anyone in the UK, check out Coast Candles. Okay, check out Coast Candles. Was in their last week up in, oh God, help me out. Dornoch, is that the right way to pronounce it? Beautiful brand. All right, so let's keep this moving. Let's keep this going. I hope that was a constructive, very positive conversation. I hope it didn't anger anybody. I tried to keep my opinions on burning candles to myself. I've learned it all the hard way. But if you want to check out my Aroma Prison video, I highly recommend it. It's an old video. Who was that? There's an old video that I did where I I drew a lot of comparisons to wine tasting. Really more aromatic evaluation of wine and candles. Believe it or not, there is a lot of comparisons that can be drawn. All right, so I told you I was going to find this candle, and I did. I had to get it. I wanted to get it in the full-size jar, but I didn't find it. It was retired in the 90s, and it was replaced by the most successful candle ever in the history of the world. What is the most successful candle in the history of the world? Scented candle. It's crazy to think that there is such a thing, but there's clearly one candle in the world that is the most successful. Does anybody have that answer? Anthony's taking off. Bye, Anthony. Thank you so much for joining in today. And Eric says, balsam and cedar. Balsam and cedar easily is Yankee Candle's most popular fragrance, and Yankee Candle is easily the most popular as far as sales when it comes to candles and the fact that they've been around for generations. But balsam and cedar is not as old. So balsam and cedar, it's surprising that it's the most successful candle because it's not as old as some people might assume. It really is about 20 years old, give or take. And before it was balsam and cedar, there was a candle that was a precursor to balsam and cedar. And does anybody know what candle that is? And what's funny about balsam and cedar, it's a holiday candle. It's not one of Yankee Candle's oldest candles, not even close. And yet it's still the most successful candle. Where does this love from candles come from? It's a love of aromatics sees the day. It really is. I worked in the wine industry for many years. Before that, let's go back when I was a child. My parents thought I was a little nuts because I smelled and wanted to taste everything. You know those little poisonous stickers that they used to put on things that were toxic when you were kids? That only made me more intrigued to want to smell them. Kids, don't do it. But I wanted to smell them even more. Scratch and Sniff Snickers, not Snickers, stickers, books, they were my favorite toys. I think there's a couple wires crossed up here where I respond a little extra emotionally when it comes to Aroma. And I'm starting to realize that I'm not the only person in the world who has, I'm not going to call it a problem, I call it a blessing. And if anyone has read The Remembrance of Things Past by Marcel Proust, first of all, huge thumbs up to you. But there is kind of an excerpt from that book where it talks about, just loosely here, a cup of tea and a Madeleine cookie. And if you read that excerpt, I address it every so often, and I hope people go out and do the research if they haven't read it and read that. That pretty much sums up exactly my philosophy, my thought process when it comes to Aroma. So what candle predated balsam and cedar? Come on, guys. Look at this. It looks like balsam and cedar, but it's balsam fir. Not balsam and fir, but balsam fir. And I had never owned it. So a couple weeks ago, I purchased it. Oh my God. Good God. I purchased it in a small 3.7 ounce house warmer, and it had been burned. So there was a little bit of smoke taint on it, but I knew right away that it was strikingly awesome. And this one hasn't been touched. This is I'm guessing, by some hints that I have, including when this candle was in production, that it is a mid to late 90s black band jar. Okay, so never lit. It is pretty dry. I will mention that. And it does have a little hint of age on it. I will say that. It seems like pine, you know what I mean by coniferous, right? So the families of fir, spruce, cypress, pine trees, hemlocks, it's all in the coniferous tree family, right? It seems like these candles don't last as long. Like, I've had a 35-year-old candle. We lit it live. It was country heather, and it was like it was poured yesterday. It was a 35-year-old candle. It predated my life, and it smelled amazing. I have Christmas cookie. I have Christmas Eve. I have so many of the classics, and I will do a night once my office is completed. It's getting a facelift. I've said that several times. I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be a much more fun, pleasant place to hang out in the near future for candle evaluations. But I will give you a look at some of my retro vintage Yankee Candle collection. So there is a little bit of age on this, but this is kind of like, if I had to really sum it up and be very, very, very basic about it, it's kind of a mixture of balsam and cedar and mistletoe. And how awesome does that sound? And you know what? Maybe balsam and cedar, let's give that, okay, let's say, it's say 1/4 balsam and cedar, 1/4 Christmas tree, 2/4 mistletoe. So it has that Christmas wreath, dehydrated pine needle, but really thick, dried sap smell that I love about mistletoe. Much different than balsam and cedar. I love this candle. So why am I talking about it again, other than I did get my jar and I'm happy to have it. I wanted it in a large jar, but you know what? There is, I have to, these days, especially with funding this show, a lot of my own money from my wallet comes out to fund this show. Again, mainly for the stuff that's coming up down the road and building what this channel will become. So I have to be careful with my candle collection. A lot of people, I shared a picture of my candle collection on the Facebook fan group. And if you're not a member of the Facebook fan group, the Candle Enthusiast Facebook fan group it's holy moly. Is it a fun place to hang out? A judgment-free zone, that is for sure. Go by. Request to be a part of the group. Trust me. I think if you're a candle weirdo like all of us who are a part of the group, I think you'll be uh, a welcomed addition to the family, and I think you'll enjoy yourself. However, when was this candle released? There is another candle, Balsam and Fir, limited edition, that was released in 2016, right? I saw it, I wanted it, I didn't get it, because back then, even though that wasn't that long ago, I really liked just collecting house warmers. Just because I'd like to keep it, I'd like to keep everything homogeneous. I don't like having different sized jars. I don't like having different vessels. So I never ended up getting this. But it didn't dawn on me. Wait a minute, this has the same exact name as this rather old, at the time, a staple for Yankee Candle. Was this the same fragrance? So just to be clear again, let's get a close look. A limited edition, we have this frosted pine cone with some rather nice silver bokeh in the back, and it's called Balsam and Fir. Is it the same? Now remember, this candle is aged, and it's not the same. It's not the same, and I'm not upset by that, but I can't think of many examples where Yankee Candle has used the same name for a candle and conceptually have it be completely different. There is pine in here, there is cedar in here, there is pine needle in here, but there's things like there's a lot of herbal notes. There's things like eucalyptus, there's things like lime. More specifically, there's a frosted cane sugar and peppermint aroma to this candle. There's going to be a nice waft of cooling sensation from the mintiness. There is a little bit of masculine men body spray, not Axe body spray, still very fresh and clean, of good taste. This is a cologne that you would smell on somebody and say, you know what, that's not a bad cologne, that's actually pretty nice, but just don't put a lot of it on, right? This is not like one of those nauseating body sprays. But it does seem to be built on a lot of things that smell like pine. We've talked about how rosemary, the herb, smells like pine. We talked about how eucalyptus kind of complements things like pine, but also smells a little bit minty, but is really an herbal aroma. And as far as wood, this isn't like a cedar firewood experience. This is, again, going to fall into that realm of cleaner, fresher, not Home Depot, but like a fresh timber wood, rather than, say, like an antique furniture or a lacquered piece of furniture or a dried out piece of firewood. And certainly not smoky at all. And it's very nice. It's very nice. I picked this up on eBay. I'm not sure how much, but I really was too curious, and I knew if I didn't get it now, I probably would never get it. So Balsam and Fir. All right, let's keep this going. Here comes the rain, people. Here comes the rain. What else do I have to show? There's so much. Let's open up a box. Who's a fan of Which City Wicks? Anybody a fan of Which City Wicks out there? If you're not familiar with Which City Wicks is a company that I've been following for years. I've become I hope she would say it's mutual, but I've become a very close friend of Liz Fraizer, who is the proprietor of City Wicks, based out of Salem, Massachusetts, a candle company. But she's also the candle maker. She designs the labels. She designs the candles. She pours the candles. It's a one-woman show. And she's got two awesome sisters who also live in Salem, who are also artists, and they help her out. Liz helps her out, helps her sisters out with her businesses. It's just this wonderful situation of like you have these three wonderful girls from Salem who are incredibly artistic, have great taste, and it just so happens that she's making some of the most thought-provoking candles I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm a huge supporter. And because of that, there is a loyal, he must be a loyal fan. I love this guy. And I hope he doesn't mind that I'm giving him a shout out. But dear Jeff from Maine, he sent me a care package. He sent me an email. He's like, I'm gonna send you a couple candles. One's used, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm like, okay, so he's probably gonna be, throwing me some goodies. I get a box that's bigger than this. This is not the box he sent it in. It's a smaller box. And I opened it up and I'm like, what on earth is going on, Jeff? First of all, he sends me a card that's got an honest to goodness wax stamp, and it's got my name on it. I mean, already he's winning points. So let's quickly read. Don't worry, Jeff. My handwriting is atrocious, so is mine. Enclosed, you will find a few candles that I would like to give them as you wish. All the candles are unburned except for one of the wood wicks, which was only burned for a short time. If you ever run across any Kringle corn, Jeff is a huge Halloween Kringle candle fan. So those Kringle Halloween candles that I sell on eBay that are long retired, he was a huge supporter of those. He put together his own collection. But Kringle corn, which was their candle or candy corn candle, is very, very hard to find. So he wants me to keep my eye open for it. And I am, Jeff, if you're listening. Keep up the great work with your various YouTube channels. I enjoy your creativity. Sincerely, Jeff. Jeff from Maine. I'll keep it at that. But what's really amazing is his generosity. So here's that woodwick candle, a candle that I was gonna buy last year. This was a woodwick candle with the plus wick. You could see it really was probably just lit for a couple seconds. But this was kind of like a boonilla, a vanilla Halloween candle. I loved it. It reminded me of ghostly treats. I was gonna buy it. Look at the panoramic view here. We got the haunted house, we have the bats, we have the ghosts, we have the graveyard. We have these rolling hills of someplace ominous and dark. And oh yeah, big time vanilla, big time marshmallow. This is like if you wanted to make a candle called vanilla frozen yogurt, or melted vanilla frozen yogurt, or white chocolate mousse frozen yogurt. That would be an appropriate name for this. But this candle is entitled it's vanilla bean. It's just called vanilla bean. And bingo bango, that will be put with my wooden wick candles, a proud part of the collection. Everything else in this box is unburned. I'm gonna go through this real quick. And what's amazing is this month, I have a subscription box, a Candle Enthusiast subscription box. Really, what it is a way to pledge money to the show. You pledge a certain amount of money, right? But in return, I create a personalized box of candles from various companies, things that I love, things that I discover, not just candles, but accessories. Sometimes I throw some treats in there. I put everything from maple syrups. I put honeys from places that I found on my travels. I've put in, one of my favorite thing was I put in dried lilacs from a very important lilac tree that still stands from when I was growing up. And I went to the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery one time and I put crushed pine cones and pine needles in a little sachet into the subscription boxes. So that's my little plug for the subscription box. But this month is going to be Halloween in July. That is the theme for the subscription box. So it's going to have, of course, Yankee Candle Halloween items, new and old, or newish, I should say, newish and old. It's going to have, I'll keep some of this a secret. Actually, no, I won't say this. I won't keep this a secret. If Nikki's in the house, we're going to have Washington Wicks, based out of Washington / kind of Oregon. She is going to be featured. She's got some beautiful Halloween candles that must be included. But it's going to be a big City Wicks subscription box this month. So if anyone is interested in that, the subscription box deluxe is sold out, but there's still the subscription box. I don't want to call it a standard because it's not standard. It's an awesome box. And there's the mini. The mini subscription box is samples instead of full-size candles. So instead of candle, you get a sample, right? Still plenty of those available. But inside of this box, we have my personal favorite fragrance from City Wicks, Holy Ground. This is a lovely, lovely, romantic Salem cemetery, historic, not in a morbid way at all, experience. This smells like wet stone and moss. This smells like grass and earthiness. This is authenticity and in a candle. This is a true aromatic experience. My favorite candle, and Jeff sent me a full sample wax melts. Awesome, awesome. You can't have enough. And then bite me. I was always afraid to use these words to describe this fragrance, but Liz gave me the okay. This is like the most decadent and delicious Hawaiian punch fragrance you'll ever smell. It is, it's if you would imagine what a vampire. Okay, us drinking Hawaiian punch is a very enjoyable experience, right? A vampire drinking blood is a very enjoyable experience. So this is like what it would be for a vampire drinking blood, only it doesn't taste like blood or smell like blood. It tastes like something that we really enjoy. A really high quality fruit punch. But that's not all. We have a Christmas fragrance, my favorite Christmas fragrance from City Wicks. We have peppermint bark. Peppermint bark is one of my, I just love peppermint candles, and I love chocolate candles, and I don't think there's anything else that reminds me more of Christmas than those two combinations, mint and chocolate. We have Travel Tins, another Holy Ground, Seance, Bite Me, Church. Do you know what this means? This means that I am fully stocked up to do some massive City Wicks evaluations very soon. Dragon's Blood. I'm moving through these rather quickly because Liz has also sent me a box, and I want to open that. But also in here we have full-size candles. Look at these boxes. We have Krampus. Now I own Krampus, but I don't own the box. So we might have to have a giveaway. If anyone enjoys that Krampus candle, you know, you never know. You never know when these candles are going to be retired or replaced with new artworks. So that adds to the collectability. We have a full-size Seance candle. Again, none of these have been lit. Jeff, you're insane. We have Dragon's Blood, one that I do not own, but has been on my wish list. Dragon's Blood. Holy moly. And we have one last, it's a 4-ounce jar. I opened it up. There was a little sticker, but it has not been lit. Holy Ground. So, oh man, thank you so much, Jeff. I wanted to really highlight that and thank you so much for your generosity. That certainly makes my day. Hope it enhanced your day a little bit more by seeing those. And just like Send Pop Candle Company, go to City Wicks Instagram, say hello, say I sent you, share some love, excuse me, man, this coffee is really making me burp a little bit. Make sure you find some of candles on maybe Liz's page, which City Wicks, and comment on them. Let her know that like you approve of that candle. She produces great labels. And again, let her know that I sent you, because you know that's how we're going to get promo codes in the future. Garfield's still with us. Let's open this one real quick. We got a little bit more City Wicks. We got more. We got a complete surprise box. We have David Copperfield to talk about. David Copperfield, and we have more Yankee Candle. So as you'll see right here, we have a box from City Wicks from Salem, Massachusetts, addressed to the Candle Enthusiast. And look at this. I love this. She's got her own tape. She's got her own shipping tape. Gotta be careful as I do this. I do not want to score. You ever get like a DVD that's obviously been scored at like Best Buy or Blu-ray, I guess, these days? All right, so I purchased, so again, this was for the subscription box for this month. But I did want to show you what I ordered. And if you are a subscription box member, maybe you do want to take a look away. Here's a little, we got a note from Liz Fraizer. Shane, thank you. Next time you want to do a promotion, let me know, exclamation point. So it looks like we already have the approval from Liz. So we will certainly be doing a promo for City Wicks. I will be happy to send you a product to you. Expect a full set of Halloween candles soon. Let me just make sure I'm reading that right. Expect a full set of Halloween candles soon. And in parentheses, new label art. All new label art. So not only is Liz going to be sending me candles for evaluation, all of her Halloween candles, but this year, according to Liz, everything has new label art. Thank you, Liz. That's what it says. Thank you, Liz. Liz, thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. She sent me some swag here. We got some stickers. If you like to put stickers on your laptops, we have some. We got some matches. It's a great smell, isn't it? It's a great smell. We have some matches, and then what else is this? This is new. I haven't seen these. We got little stickers. We got Salem stickers and mini City Wicks stickers. Liz does this. If you order from Liz, she sends a bunch of goodies. What is inside here? Again, if you are a subscription box member, please, if you want to be surprised, don't look. But I am going to be evaluating. This is the brand new summer candle, but also it works for any time of the year. Could just as easily be Oh my God. Easily be a Halloween candle. Look at the minimalism of these labels. A lot of you have seen this on Instagram. This one is called Nightfall, and this is the first time you're smelling it here. I love it, man. I'm telling you. It's creamy, it's sweet, it's tart. It reminds me of the summer. This is a candle. Call me strange, call me weird, but the first thing I thought of is like, this reminds me of like a cool night in the Black Forest, nightfall, right? This is a candle, take this for what you will, this is a candle I would burn while watching something like Game of Thrones. I mean it, because there's an elegance, there is a luxury to this candle. Creamy, soft. The ingredients that she uses are, some of them are beyond my vocabulary, but I'm gonna do an in-depth evaluation of this candle very soon, and in return, the subscription box members will be getting their own Nightfall candle, brand new for this year, in the mail. And there's some samples in there. So Liz, thank you so much. She is the sweetest. I cannot wait for those Halloween candles. I cannot wait to review those Halloween candles. Believe it or not, I only own about half of them. I don't own all of them, and I haven't really ever evaluated all of them. I've sat down with Liz and discussed them, but I haven't evaluated all of her Halloween candles. So that will be very exciting. Which City Wicks? Go on Instagram, say hello. All right, let's keep this going. Let's go back to Yankee Candle for a second. Subscription box members, take a look back. This is something that's going to be something that's not Halloween related, but I'm going to include it in the box. Has anyone seen this candle? I've heard of it, but I had never had a chance to smell it. Yankee Candle. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. This is clearly, well, I don't know. It's a Canadian label, and it's considered a collector's edition. This did come in many different formats. It is an outlet candle, that's where I found it, but it is a Canadian maple aroma, and it doesn't just smell like maple. This is not like New England maple by Yankee Candle. This isn't, what are the other ones? What's the other maple candles? God, I'm forgetting them already. But really, the New England maple is only the unadulterated maple candle by Yankee Candle. And then you have Kringle candles, maple sugar, that I love. But I'm not kidding. This is more of a breakfast experience. And please do not take this the wrong way. I am not a fast food person. It's not that I don't like it. I don't judge people who do it, but I just don't do fast food. I haven't really done it since college. But something I did recently, and I enjoyed it, was I had my first ever McGriddle. What is going on with McGriddles? Are these things legal? But I had a McGriddle, and let me tell you, the first thing I thought when I smelled this candle was, this smelled like that pancake, maple flavored, syrup flavored with butter and salt. This smells like the two ends, the two buns, the two pancakes, the two cake sides of the sandwich, whatever you want to call it, of a McDonald's McGriddle. And if that doesn't sound delicious, I don't know what does. And because of the uniqueness of this candle, because I love Canada, I want to get my butt to Canada one of these days. It's been a very long time. And because I just don't see this around, I'm going to include this in the subscription box. Again, am I promoting the subscription box? Well, maybe it's a shameless plug, but maybe you guys should check it out. It's really, really cool. I'm really starting to enjoy the things that, the concepts, because they're all themed. Now, a video that I did last week, anybody who missed it, I want to quickly just recap. This year, for 2018, I'm waiting for someone to correct me, but I think I am right. This would mark the 20th anniversary of Witch's Brew, Yankee Candle's Witch's Brew. And I know it's very early to be talking about Halloween, even though I just spent so much time talking about Witch City Wicks. But if anyone hasn't seen the brand new design for Witch's Brew, I want to show you real quick, but I also got a little surprise in here too. Let's get this light going again. Now, I did a whole live video where I showed this new label. Look at that. Again, these live videos do not capture the beautiful saturation of these colors. We have what looks to me, like I said, like a stained glass window up here. We have a green bubbling cauldron emitting a very vibrant green light. We have some steam, and look really closely. Do you see it? Look above my finger. That is the head and the shoulders of a raven. It's a little bit out of focus, but do you see it? Because a lot of people don't see it at first, because if I pull it back here, I know the image is probably flipped right now. These live videos, the image gets flipped or flopped. But tell me if you see a witch in that haze. I didn't notice it until I looked really quickly at my live video, and I saw immediately. To me, I see a witch's face here, face right above there, an arm holding a cane and a long cloak. And this beak really is kind of like her hat. But I know a lot of us have seen other depictions. If this is intentional by Yankee Candle, high five, come on. Really, I honestly, I'm very pleased. If they really put that much thought into this, at a time where I thought they were kind of trying to they were putting out Witch's Brew because of tradition, but to show that they truly still do have love for one of their most beloved Halloween fragrances. This does make me happy. And full 22-ounce jar, folks. 22-ounce jar. This has only been done a couple of times. Back in the earliest days, the first ever release of this candle was released in a 22-ounce jar. That would have been 1998, if my math is correct. And also in 1999, this would have been released in a full 22-ounce jar. And I had to be corrected for that. I wasn't aware of it, but it apparently is the truth. So I do not own the very first release of Witch's Brew. In fact, I don't know anybody who does. But I do own the second release of Witch's Brew. And I brought it with me today because I wanted to show you. I showed this recently. I actually have two of these. And because I'm trying to raise money for the show, and as much as this breaks my heart, at some point during this Halloween season, if anyone's watching who really likes Witch's Brew, this will, and spread the word. Maybe you don't want to spread the word because you probably don't want to have any competition trying to get it. I will be putting one of my 1999 Witch's Brew unlit up for sale, and take a look at that label. We got everything. We have Witch's Brew in the biggest font to date. We have Yankee Candle in the classic font, but super bold. We have this beautiful large banner. We have the classic witch and her green cape and red cloak. I love this. We have that golden full moon behind her. She's got blue hair, blue grayish hair, which I love. Her broom has speared a pumpkin for God knows what, for what reason. We have Sophia the cat. Is this the very first appearance of Sophia the cat? I think it might be. Sophia the cat is a staple of Yankee Candle. She's not going anywhere. She's had a facelift over the past few years, but there she is. And the owl. I wish the owl would become a staple of Yankee Candle. However, so there's another cat. There she is. I meant to point to this one. Sophia usually rides on the back of the witch's broom. That right there is some kind of mythological mini dragon. It's not really a cat at all. So my point is, on the eBay Candle Enthusiast page, this will be for sale. It is highly aromatic. It's unlit. It looks like it might be lit because the wax is black. But remember, witches, brews, candles, I guess for the exception of this year, are black. So unlit, it has a little bit of leaking up here. See that? That happens. That happens, especially if the candle's ever left on its side. So don't ever leave it on its side. But I wanted to show that. Woo! And the rain is coming down, the thunder is starting, and we are approaching, we're an hour and 40 minutes on this live channel. How are we doing down here, guys? We're talking amongst ourselves. I appreciate that because I'm really not giving you guys the attention that I should. It's hard to present these things and at the same time keep my eyes on the comments, and I'm not doing a good job today. Agreed. Hopefully there's a few more surprises coming up for autumn and Christmas. Autumn as far as Halloween, yes. Christmas, yes. I can confirm those two things. Keep in mind that we haven't seen the autumn returning favorites yet. We haven't seen the Christmas returning favorites yet. Some of the ones that will be returning, I don't know which ones they are, all of them, but some of them have been absent for quite some time, or some of them have been very hard to find. So that it's like they're new, because a lot of us have never experienced them before. I only see a witch if she's wearing a hat with a feather coming out. That says Emily. I saw a different thing, says Travis. What's everyone's favorite Halloween candle? Chris, my favorite Halloween candle is Yankee Candle Forbidden Apple. I'm sorry, Travis. You'll find out why. But remember, there's at least Granny Smith. It's not the same, in my opinion, but at least there's Granny Smith. Sweet Seduction is getting a new label. It certainly is, and it will be still in a large jar. Yes, it will be, and it's going to the UK, and it will be available in several different formats. Just like Witch's Brew, it looks like each candle is getting 3 different vessels of the fragrance, which is kind of cool. Philly Candleman, we have Brett in the house. Spiced Berry will be released soon. Awesome. $10 with a $25 purchase. Very cool. Thank you for that. Anne Marie says, I'm envious of your weather. Well, I'm envious of your weather. Love the pouring rain while I'm sitting inside. I hope the sounds of the rain is really being picked up right now. Travis says, don't tell me ... I won't tell you. I won't tell you. Well, until my first Halloween spoiler alert video. I'll tell you something. Oh, and Philly Candleman, it's a good comparison. Philly's, I almost want to call you Philly, Brett, sometimes. Just like pineapple upside down cake last year. $25 purchase, you get it for $10. Well, pineapple upside down cake was not a huge hit. I liked it. I thought it was very simplistic, but it was not a hit with the Yankee Candle fans. I have two of them. But then again, I haven't lit them either, so maybe there's something to be said about that. Is Witch's Brew just patchouli candle jazzed up for Halloween? Does anybody know the actual true fragrance notes to Witch's Brew and patchouli? The argument for me, are the candles the same? No. Are they the same recipe? Perhaps. Are they a little bit different every year? Yes. But concentrated oils. So even the smallest variation can throw off the profile a little bit. But I like that. If you're a wine person, you probably understand why that's also kind of cool. Variances sometimes, small variances, can be really fun. But if you guys don't know, I'm gonna give you the official Yankee Candle fragrance notes for Witch's Brew. Now remember, in 2015, Yankee Candle's fragrance notes were top secret. You had to be an employee of Yankee Candle to see the fragrance notes of the candles. Now in 2016, for whatever reason, I'm guessing maybe it's because Bath and Body Works or Kringle Candle made their fragrance notes public. Yankee Candle did the same thing. So we take it for granted now that we can just go to the website and look up the fragrance notes. But there was something called the Fragrance Handbook. And I'm not gonna say I own one, but I do have one. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to obtain in my life. If Yankee Candle, you're listening, I'm sorry. I know technically I'm not supposed to have it, but I don't want to give it back. So I have the fragrance notes chronicling all of the Yankee Candles, most of the Yankee Candles, or at least the very popular Yankee Candles throughout the history. So if you ever need specific fragrance notes on a candle, especially if it's an old one, just send me an email. I can help you out. And you'll notice that before Yankee Candle made them public, the fragrance notes were way more complex. Again, because it wasn't for the consumer, it was for the employee. So they weren't as poetic. They were, I'm going to the complete wrong place here. They were a little bit more specific and accurate. Just give me a second. I'm gonna get these notes for you. I had posted it on my eBay auction page. Because oh, come on. My Wi-Fi is acting up. Of course it is. Of course it is. I will get it in a second and I will give you the fragrance notes. But to answer your question, who was it? Wow, my computer is really not liking something that's going on here. Ooh, yeah, I hit some kind of something that's trying to throw a bug on my computer. Boy, all right, we have to move on while I try to fix this. What else do I have in here? We have the maple candle. I got an idea. When all else fails, use Google Chrome. Just hang in with me for a second, folks. All right, so here we go. Fragrance notes for Witch's Brew. Are we ready? Top notes. Again, these are a little bit strange because they were meant for the employees. Woodsy notes. These are the top notes. Woodsy notes, as phrased by Yankee Candle, comma, sweet notes. A little bit vague, actually very vague, comma, clove, comma, cinnamon. Mid notes, jasmine, comma, cedar, comma, balsam. Bottom notes, patchouli. This is not 100% patchouli candle. This is what I've been saying for years, and I took a little bit of a hit with my my Witch's Brew evaluation 2 years ago, because I was mentioning things like root beer and licorice root. I was mentioning things like charcoal, and people were like, "What are you talking about? It's patchouli." It's not just patchouli, folks. The bottom notes, patchouli, again, woodsy notes, and vanilla. Yes. There's definitely a little bit of root beer float, Coca-Cola action, licorice root, black licorice. There's charcoal in Witch's Brew. The way my nose detects it, I'm not saying it's literally in that candle, but it's not straight up patchouli. So once again, top notes, woodsy notes, sweet notes, clove, cinnamon, so some baking spices for sure. Jasmine, we have our florals, cedar, balsam, patchouli, woodsy notes, vanilla. So those are the fragrance notes of Witch's Brew. So hopefully, we can now just put an end to the fact that Witch's Brew is straight up patchouli. It's not. It smells a whole lot like patchouli. Here's an old Witch's Brew candle. It smells like Witch's Brew, but it is empty. Why did I bring this? Well, because I recently purchased this one that was empty too. This was part of the same collection. It was a really cool year. I wanted to see, and I haven't tried this yet. The reason why I bought these is because I thought, how cool would it be if I bought like LED lights? This is very bright. And I don't know if this is gonna work, guys. I'm gonna have to find some different kind of light, but I'm thinking like for Halloween, I could have these on display, and it's not a real flame, so I can actually put the label on. You see how it gives a jack-o'-lantern effect? It's not right now, because I certainly don't have the light. I have to figure out what kind of light is going to work. I have to figure that out. If you guys have any suggestions, leave that in the comments below. But I wonder if it looks better in the candy corn. Yeah, it looks better in the candy corn because it's not like super. I mean, I still have to get a different light, but I think you get the idea, right? So if I can figure out how to illuminate the two of these, that'd be a nice little kind of decoration, right? It turns out that I'm happy I bought these empty jars. Thought I'd share that with you since we're talking about Witch's Brew. We have one package that I'm super excited to open from a very loyal fan. I hope you don't mind me sharing your name. Tricia. Tricia has been a huge supporter to the Candle Cade. All of you guys have been huge supporters. If you just watch, you are a huge supporter. But Tricia has sent me something. I have no idea what it is. I'm going to open that up in a second. But something that was somebody requested that I talked about was that, if some of you guys don't know, and it might sound weird, it might sound like a joke, but the magician David Copperfield, the magic of David Copperfield, he has been he was a childhood hero of mine. I wasn't a sports kid. I kind of was. You know, I liked Don Mattingly. I was a Yankees fan because it was passed on to me. I liked Wade Boggs. I liked Paul O'Neill. You know, I was still very young when the Yankees were winning the World Series around, was it 96, 98, 99? But my point is, I was never. My heroes were not athletes. My heroes were storytellers. They were authors. They were directors. They were screenwriters, actors to a certain point, because I do believe actors are storytellers in their own right. But I think if I had to sum up one person who really has had the biggest impact for me when I was a child, and to this day still has an enormous impact. And if you would have asked me a year ago if I could have a sit-down conversation as an adult with one person living, it would have been one of two people. It would have been Tom Petty, and we all lost. I said but we all lost Tom Petty this year, which is still a huge, massive blow to me. But the other person is David Copperfield, because he's not just this magic man that people make him out to be. If you're not too familiar with David Copperfield, I can understand how you might look at him as kind of like this kind of really weird personality, and I get it. His shtick, and he admits it, is not necessarily always timeless. But for me, I was watching David Copperfield in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. When I was a kid, I believe I saw him 19 times live. And through Twitter, David Copperfield released that he was going to be speaking at this really awesome event in the Upper West Side in New York City. It's called the Summer of Magic, and they're doing a bunch of exhibitions of magic. For example, David Copperfield has the largest, by far, collection of artifacts of magic's history. So Houdini's straitjacket was there. His wife Bess's dress was there. The Metamorphosis box was there. A lot of the artifacts that were Houdini's personal items were there, all on loan from David Copperfield. But who was also there was David Copperfield. And if anyone's interested in magic and the history of magic, especially Harry Potter, they're doing a Harry Potter week, I think, later on in the summer. Look into that. But I had to go down because I've met David Copperfield before, but I met him on stage because I was actually invited on stage to be a participant in a trick. But that's not really meeting him, right? And I met him when I was a kid several times, but I was a kid, so that's not really meeting him, right? So I wanted to go down in hopes that I could meet him, slightly express to him, not that, I'm a weird 34-year-old, 33-year-old man who has an obsession with you, and I've been following you on Twitter, and I'm a spy, and not spy, a stalker, and I didn't want to come off as a freak. I just simply wanted to let him know that when it comes to the way I look at art and the art that I've created in my life, he has had the most impact on the artwork that I've created, because to him it's not about magic, it's about storytelling. And I always say this about candles. Candles, it's not about the aromatics, it's about the stories that they can tell. There's something very special in that if you really let that sink in. And David Copperfield is a master at that. If you've seen any of his illusions, especially the ones that do come from his heyday, which what I would say was the late 80s and early 90s. I think he would disagree with that. Hope he doesn't mind me saying that. Not that he's listening. But I think that his tricks, his illusions were dances. They were very choreographed dances. They were stories. But most importantly, they made people in the audience emote, show emotion. And even as a kid, I recognized this. So in 1989, I became a David Copperfield International Fan Club member. I was in Caesar's Palace in Atlantic City, and I understand we're losing a lot of people right now in the chat room, but this is important. I do want to share this. Um, um, I became a fan club member. I was very young, and I signed up for the membership while I was, like I said, in Caesar Palace in Atlantic City. And a part of the benefit of signing up for the fan club, you got a newsletter every so often, but you also got to meet Mr. Copperfield after the show, and you got to get a picture taken, a photo opportunity, and a signature. And a very young me, a very young Shane, met David Copperfield. I have pictures to prove this. I was so preoccupied, and my mother was in the distance, so preoccupied. This wasn't cell phone days, guys. This was in the 80s, 1989. She was trying to get a perfect photograph. I was wearing my leather jacket. I was trying to look as David Copperfield as possible. I was trying to play it cool. But in the process, I forgot to get my signature. I forgot, see, they gave out two, this, you're gonna laugh when you see this stuff. But again, guys, 80s. They gave out 2 8x10s of David Copperfield, and you could get them signed. But I was so preoccupied with the photo, I never got it signed. What are you guys saying right now? Are you making fun of me? Or are you engaged in what I'm saying? I think some of you guys are kind of maybe floating away. Let me see what you guys are saying. I have to do this on Google again. Google Chrome. So David Copperfield was doing a lecture. It was an hour-long lecture. It kind of went over briefly the history from a young adult. He taught at NYU as an instructor. He was an instructor at NYU at the age of 16 years old. I just have to do this. Safari is not responding. I'm gonna force quit, reopen. We're gonna go to youtube.com, the Candle Enthusiast, and then we're gonna open up the live. Excuse me, guys. I apologize. Cookie Hill is in the house. Cookie Hill's in the house. And Nancy, thank you for catching Troll Alert. Troll Alert, at least they were trying to fool us. What a name, Troll Alert. So I saw David Copperfield speak. I was in the front row. I waited a long time, and it was a pleasure to hear him speak. But after the show, I went up to the stage, and I tried to find like one of his, it wasn't a bodyguard, but it was somebody who worked with him. And I could tell, I had a little microphone. I'm like, is there any way you could give David Copperfield this package? And he's like, what's the package? He's like, as soon as Mr. Copperfield sees this package, he's gonna know exactly what this is. Tell him, 1989, Caesar's Palace, International Fan Club, I missed my opportunity to get my signature. Would he be able to sign it? He's like, I can't guarantee he's gonna wanna sign it. I'm like, I don't care if he signs it. I just want him to take a look at it. And the guy was like, what are you talking about? It's like, just make sure he sees it. And I bet you will be surprised on how he reacts to this package. I mean, I told the guy that I had to make a special trip home to my parents' house, dig this out, because I've been waiting all of these years for the opportunity to cross paths with Mr. Copperfield to get my signature on a picture. This is a picture of an illusion called the Death Saw, where he saws himself in half. He doesn't saw a lady in half. He saws himself in half. And so the gentleman takes my little envelope here, and this picture. Got milk? Not this one. This didn't come in the fan club. I just put that one there. And he comes back, and this guy was very skeptical from the beginning. He's like, who are you? Why are you asking me to do this? But this guy comes back with a completely different tone and a look on his face. And he's like, "Hi, sir. I'm so happy I was able to help you out. I showed Mr. Copperfield your folder, and he was happy to sign it." Now, he only had a pen. I was stupid enough not to bring a Sharpie, but it does say to Shane, best wishes. And David Copperfield, don't know, has got one of the wackiest autographs in the world, and it's very hard to see. I don't care. The principle, the fact of the matter is, I waited how many years? 89 to 1998. I waited almost 30 years to have this 8x10 signed by somebody who sculpted me as a child as far as my artistic trajectory. I had it signed. And I walked out of Summer of Magic with a big smile on my face. I called my brother and I'm like, I got my 8x10 signed. It took me 30 years, but I got it signed. But my brother said, "Did you meet him?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't get to meet him, but he signed my 8x10. He's like, "Shane, I thought the whole purpose was, this is it. This is your opportunity. This is your chance to meet and share just briefly as an adult, how much his work has meant to you." Because my brother and I, we talked about doing such a thing when we were kids. I was 4, my brother was 8, and we would say like, "Oh man, if we got to meet David Copperfield, what would you say? What would you say?" And as adults, my brother and I, we still have that nostalgia in us where we're like, that would be a huge bucket list thing to just say in a very genuine, very, very, very non-spooky, creepy way, show our deep appreciation for the man's work. So I hung up the phone with my brother. I walked back into the venue, and I walked back into the auditorium where David was speaking. And in the corner, there was a circle of people. Now, you folks probably wouldn't recognize these people, but I could tell these people were people who work in the illusion magic industry. So they were probably close friends of his. Everyone in the audience had emptied out. It was a very small audience to begin with, but he was there in front of the stage with kind of, acquaintances of his. And I'm like, is there any way I could vlog this experience? Is there any way I could go up without fooling myself, without scarring myself for life, leaving myself with the memory of embarrassing myself in front of David Copperfield? So anyway, I could up and say something to him. And just as I was about to give up, I turned my head, and somebody was standing next to me, a very beautiful, beautiful young woman, and I recognized her right off the bat. David Copperfield's wife or significant other, not Claudia Schiffer. That was years and years ago. His wife, the mother of his daughter, was standing right beside me. And I'm like, "Oh my God, Chloe." And she goes, "Yes." I'm like, "Chloe, this might sound so strange. I know this is weird. I'm a grown man. I'm not necessarily dressed for the occasion. I was wearing like a t-shirt. Everyone else was wearing like beautiful clothing. Stupid enough not to realize that I had to dress in like business casual." I said, "I don't want to freak David out. I don't want to creep him out. I don't want to think that I'm a weirdo. I don't want to have him think that I'm carrying around like a book of Catcher in the Rye in my pocket. I hope that's not an offensive comparison, but that always is a concern, I'm sure, for him, that strange people coming off the street, especially if they're fans, might do something weird." I said, it would mean the world to me. It would be a huge bucket list thing if there's any way you could just pull David aside for me. His wife, I said this to his wife. If I could just talk to David for 2 seconds, maybe get a photo, a selfie, and you will certainly make my month. And she immediately called to action. She was like, "Absolutely." I think she was so honored by me being so genuine and being polite, and I guess not being creepy. She's like, absolutely, absolutely. So after Dave kind of summed up his conversation with his friends, he was coming up the aisle. They were prepared, his bodyguards were helping him prepare to sneak out of the venue. And his wife pulled him aside and said, "This is Shane." And I sat there, I shook David's hand, and I'm like, "Dave, I wanted to say so much more, but I said, your work has truly inspired everything artistically I've done in my life, and for that, I can't thank you enough, and this is the absolute biggest pleasure to meet you today." Now, I was saying this with my voice cracking like a prepubescent boy because I was so nervous. But I've actually gotten a little bit better about controlling my nerves since I started blogging. And for a brief second, now hear me out for a second. I don't care if you don't know who David Copperfield is. Everyone, you included, everyone has that person in their life, whether it's Lucille Ball, whether it's Steve Jobs, whether it's Jerry Seinfeld, whoever it may be, everyone has that person in their life, especially if it's an artist, a musician. I'm sure a lot of you, there's musicians out there who have enhanced your life and helped sculpt who you are today. After I said these words to David, for a brief moment, I suspected that there was just a brief second. It was just a second. But there was a glimmer, a shine, a sparkle in his eye where I think for just a moment, and a moment is all I wanted, where he truly felt that I was being 100% genuine. And it wasn't just someone coming up to him saying, I'm a huge fan, I'm crazy, and I have posters all over I don't have posters of him. But I wasn't acting like that. I was truly trying to, from one artist to another, not that I would ever put myself on a scale of Dave Copperfield, but tell him that not only, it's not, I said the perfect words. I think I said the perfect words, and like I said, in his eyes for just a moment, I think he felt how genuine I was, and he pats me on the back and he says, "Thank you very much. How about a photograph?" His wife grabs my cell phone out of the hands and takes the most unflattering picture of myself and David Copperfield looking as cool as ever. He actually turned my body. He's like, "No, the light is better from this direction." So what a showman. He knew, like he posed me in a position where he knew the light was going to be good. Not for me, but for him. We took a picture, he shook my hand, and he left. And as little and as minute as that experience may seem to some of you, that is something I will take with me to the grave. Because being an artist or being someone who's very passionate about something, I don't know how to classify it, but every now and then you get into these ruts in your life where you have extreme doubt. You have doubt about what you're doing and if you're really making a difference, and you wonder, like, wow, should I have given up what I'm doing a long time ago? But I think every now and then something like that needs to happen to you, to remind you that no, you are doing something. You are on the right path. What you mean does matter, even if it's just for yourself. If you're enhancing a few people's lives, and if you can't do anything at all, try to put a few smiles on people and try to tell some stories and to create as many memories for you and for other people as much as possible. And for me, that was a really long overdue moment where, man, there's just so much doubt when you consider yourself an artist. Am I doing the right thing? Should I be spending my time doing something else? what I'm doing, does it matter? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but that moment was a positive confirmation that I'm happy with what I'm doing. I am happy where I am in life, and it gave me so much motivation to keep going, to keep building, to spiral out, and just embrace, as Maynard James Keenan would say, embrace all the opportunities that are out there, and to just keep growing every single day. So if that story meant anything to you or nothing to you, I hope at the very least you could relate to it in some form or fashion. If you would like to see that picture of Copperfield and myself, it's a terrible photo, but it is on the Candle Enthusiast Facebook group. Again, go over, request to join. We're happy to have you. And as long as you're a friendly, kind individual who can keep things family friendly, you'll be a welcomed part of the Candle Enthusiast fan group family. Woo! Candles certainly are, of course. Again, no harm meant. It's just a concept. Top, middle, and heart notes is used through the fragrance, personal home. I feel like that's part of a bigger conversation, Marianne. You were an adult, admiring, and talented man. Yes. Thank you for saying it that way and making me not feel like a fool, Leslie. And Nan17 says, wow, great story. 2 exclamation points. The 2 exclamation points, I appreciate that. 1 would have been fantastic, but the 2, and I'm not being facetious, makes me know that you meant it. Thanks for a wonderful story, Shane. I am so happy for you. Thank you. Thank you. I think you emulate that persona yourself every day. I certainly hope so, Nancy. And if I don't, I try. I try as much as I can. And I was just, for so long, on not a wrong path. Like, I wasn't, like, living a life of sin, right? Like, I don't want to make people think that, but I knew for so many years in my 20s, I was just not heading in a direction that I knew I should have been. And right now, if you think like, well, you're a YouTuber, is this really what you want to do for the rest of your life? Well, I don't know if I'm going to be doing it for the rest of my life. I would love to do it for the rest of my life, but I think I want all of you to understand, especially those of you who are invested in my channel and my show and my multiple channels, and my passion and my filmmaking, my documentary filmmaking and my narrative filmmaking. I hope that you realize that there's so much growth, there's so much more. I want this YouTube, Candle Enthusiast, Aromatic Adventures, Living Enthusiastically, call it what you will. This is just the beginning of the story, and everything takes time. And I hope that years from now we can look back and be like, wow, this all started off with Yankee Candles. I hope one day we can look back and say that. Oh man, I wish I knew what you were talking about. Candles certainly are, of course, again, no harm meant. It's just that the concept of top, middle, and heart notes is used throughout the fragrance, personal, home, or otherwise industry. And Anne-Marie, you follow that up, I'll stop. This has been driving me nuts for weeks. I've noticed many candle reviewers using terms incorrectly recently. It just happens to come up again in this conversation. I wonder what you're referring to, Anne-Marie. Maybe you want to send me an email or something, because obviously I missed something, but I see the passion that you're talking about. It's been so long that I've banned someone for the channel. Okay, so Troll Alert is gone. And if If anyone is wondering who that might be, I'll give you 3 guesses. Troll alert. Give you 3 guesses. Don't write them. Don't write them down. But obviously someone who has man, I really do. You know, it's like I don't want to say anything because you don't hit, you don't kick someone when they're down, but I really do wish happiness for the person. And I am speculating here. I could be completely wrong, but I know the person that I am referring to has, and admittedly, the person has trolled us in the past, admittedly. And you know, I just hope that, man, it's just like, I just saying you're positive isn't enough. Find some happiness in your life. Find some happiness in your life and use that as fuel to bring happiness to others instead of trying to cut people down. Chris says, Shane, when I started getting into candles last year, yours was the first channel I came upon. Thank you for fueling my passion, dude, and never stop doing what you do. Chris, I won't. You have my word. You have my word. You may see other content from me. You might see other kind of videos come from me. But candles, not just candle videos, but hopefully one day my name, and this is really, it could sound pretentious, and please don't make it sound this way, but this is just a personal goal. Hopefully one day, that my name will somewhat be synonymous with the candle industry. Hopefully. And I'm not talking about through YouTube. I'm just trying to say that I have a lot of plans of involving myself in the candle industry. So did I not? This. All right. So. All right. Please don't let troll alert bother anybody. But just keep in mind, a troller, if you are listening, no, I won't say that. Everything's positive here. We're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate candles and share our passion. We're not here to be naughty. And Hard Queen says, I'm sure you'll get there, Shane. Yes, I thank you very much. Trash says, don't feed it. It's funny, I have no intention to. It's just funny how it doesn't happen for the longest time, and then something occurs, and suddenly it starts happening again. Laura says, hi. Laura, I don't think we've been acquainted. And Teresa, however you like to pronounce it, thank you. I think you are new as well. I love it that some folks are coming out of the woodwork. I know a lot of people are lurkers. They watch, they listen, but they don't like to come forward and participate in chat. And I want to I want to encourage you to come forth and chat, be a part. We want to know what you have to say. There's no judgment zone here. I'm opening this box upside down. I don't know why. We have one more box to open. I guess I might as well go with it. Already opened it upside down. We have multicolored peanuts. Oh my God. All right, Tricia Atherley. I just gave your full name, and I apologize. Tricia, I think some of us might know Tricia here. I swear, honest to goodness, I did not know she was going to do this, and I cannot believe what I'm about to see. Yankee Candle fans, listen up. I wish I had done this sooner when we had a little bit more people in the chat room. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for this? Oh my God. I can't believe she did this. I can't believe she did this. I already got emotional during this video. Tricia, are you really gonna get me emotional again? All right, I guess I have to set this up. Yankee Candle established sometime, I don't think there's a specific year, but sometime in the very early 70s. Michael Kittredge, started off in Michael Kittredge's mother's garage. And when production got big enough, I just made a video on this, Michael Kittredge started production in an old water mill in Holyoke, Massachusetts, and was there until the early 80s. As the owner of the paper mill described it, David, huge shout out to David, that Michael Kittredge, the owner of Yankee Candle, needed to expand, and it was becoming a problem because when you're making candles, guess what? They smell a lot, and other people in the building were really starting to get concerned because everything smelled like candles. Plus, Michael Kittredge was trying to find a way to sell and promote his candles, and Holyoke at the time really wasn't supporting his artistic efforts. But guess who was very supportive? South Deerfield, Massachusetts. They told Mike Kittredge, come on up, build a country store, eventually build a factory. You'll create a bunch of jobs. It'll create South Deerfield, historic Deerfield. It'll make it a destination location of people who really enjoy quality candles. And the rest is history. 1983, it was originally called the Yankee Candle Country Store and Factory, opened in 1983. And at that time, the candles were not sold in apothecary jars. They were, but they weren't house warmer jars. They didn't have pictures. They were called Yankee Country Kitchen candles. We've seen re-releases of these candles throughout the years. That's how the original Yankee Candle apothecary jars looked. However, they were sold in candlestick format, but the most rare of all of those formats was a format called Cannikins. Cannikins go back all the way to the 19th century, where candles were poured, mainly unscented candles, poured in little, what we would think of like little paint cans. And what we're looking at here is, I have this blueberry candle, but this is far more, look at that. You can even see the top label. You can't see the top label for mine. This is far more pristine than mine. This is a circa 1983, early in the company's history, a Yankee Candle, what they called Cannikins, blueberry fragrance. And check this out. Cannikin ingredients: paraffin wax, natural essential oils, not fragrance oils, natural essential oils, and a wick. What I think you'll be very surprised of, if this is anything like the blueberry that I own, when I pop this lid, and there's still wax inside, folks. There is still, look at that. There is still wax. There's even a wick. This looks very much like mine, only in better condition. It smells like you just took a big basket of blueberries, you brought it home, took those blueberries, threw it in a big mixing bowl, and you crushed those blueberries into a pulp. It is not a cooked down blueberry, but this is a concentrated, fresh blueberry experience. This candle, 35 years old, 35, maybe 33, maybe even 30, there's a chance. and it still smells fantastic. I just want to check a few things. Okay, it still does say South Deerfield. Let me read the back. There's more in here. There's more in here. I just want to point that out. A cannikin is a small can or container, a common term in the 18th century. Excuse me, I said 19th century. As a term from the 18th and 19th century, this cannikin is filled with savory sampling of distinctive blueberry-scented paraffin, as only Yankee Candle can blend it. For the best burning results, keep wick trim to 1/4 inch to prevent smoking or blackening of cannikin. Burn the cannikin candle for at least 3 hours at a time to consume all of the wax, leaving a reusable tin. So the tin would, just like the lid of the apothecary jar, would go back on. I can actually read it. My cannikin, you could not read this. I'm gonna keep going, folks, but I was a little bit choked up and speechless there for a second. Oh man, and there's heft in the one I'm holding right now. My question is, Tricia, where did you get these? These are positively one of the hardest things that people ask me, people contact me. I do a lot of request and research when it comes to candles. People say, can you find me this candle? And it's just something I do. I go out and I make phone calls, I write emails, and I hunt down candles. And when someone asks me for a Cannikin candle, I say, I don't know what I'm gonna be able to find. As we can see, it's a smaller Cannikin. This one I do not have. It's called Fresh Peach. Fresh Peach. That label on top looks good. My mind is being blown right now, folks. Look how full this candle is. Look how full that candle is. It is, Leslie says it's in great shape. Honestly, I don't even know if I've seen the Fresh Peach one before. I'm sure I have. I have currently blueberry and spiced apple in my collection, but they're both pretty much empty. And this one, I can light this. I can light this. Maybe we'll do that in a live one day. We'll light this for a brief moment and see how it smells. Fresh Peach Scented Candle. Let me read those ingredients. Make sure it's the same thing. Ingredients: paraffin, natural essential oils, and a wick. Oh, holy moly. And Mary Poppins' favorite. You know, it's funny. I recently sold a black band of raspberry sorbet. And it went out, Mark's no longer with us, but it went to Mark and Tanya, Mark Smith. So I know it went to a very good home in Houston, Texas. They are collectors, they are super kind people, huge supporters of the Candle Enthusiast. But when I sold it, it broke my heart a little bit because it was one I really didn't want to sell. Because if you listen to the lyrics very closely in Jolly Holiday and Mary Poppins, Mary Poppins mentions, or in the lyrics, raspberry ice is mentioned. And when I went to Disneyland, and this is all on video, you can go to my Disney videos and my uploads. I asked Mary Poppins if there was a scented candle that was going to be named Mary Poppins, what would you want it to smell like? And without a moment's hesitation, she said raspberry ice. And so giving up raspberry sorbet was hard. But look what I have now. Not raspberry ice, but we have a raspberry Cannikin from Tricia. This is beyond a Christmas experience for me. That lid is really on there. And guess what? It's heavy. I'm sorry. It looks like I'm being dramatic. And I may be being dramatic, but this is all authentic. This is an unlit Cannikin, folks. This is a brand new, never touched Cannikin, circa 1983. Mary Poppins. I don't want to say Julie Andrews, but I'm going to keep it with Mary Poppins, because Mary Poppins supersedes Julie Andrews, in my opinion. Sorry, Julie, but I like Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is more important to me than Julie Andrews. This will forever be my Mary Poppins candle. Holy moly. Even Santa back there. Santa and the hedgehog, or hedgehog or beaver or groundhog, ground mole. I don't know what that is, but he's Santa's new friend. He's hanging out with him today. Yankee Candle, Cannikin. I dare you, search for these on eBay. See how much luck you have. I bet you can have an automatic search for Yankee Candle Cannikin for a year, and you will not have one of these pop up. Really, the only way to get your hands on these is to contact people from South Deerfield who lived in South Deerfield at the time. And remember, they didn't sell nationally, let alone internationally at the time. They sold locally. And a lot of these Cannikins were only sold out of the country store. They weren't sold in other retail stores, even though they eventually would get their candles in stores. So really the only way to get these is if you start doing like Craigslist searches in and around the South Deerfield region. I don't know how Tricia got their hands on these. There was a wave of these that popped up on eBay a little while ago. That's how I got mine. It was from an estate sale, which sadly probably means somebody passed away and they just trying to empty out the house, which is kind of sad, but it's a shame that you have to go to that kind of extreme. Because most people who find these are probably just going to throw them in the garbage, thinking that they're absolute trash and worth nothing. And yet, this is probably one of the best gifts I've received in the longest time. Tricia, thank you so very much. I just want to make sure if there's a letter in here. She didn't even. Oh, she did send a letter. She sent a card. Now, I want to make sure this is if it's. I don't want to read it if it's personal. Hi Shane. As I mentioned, I'm preparing for more. I'm preparing to move to Vermont. Again, something I probably should not be sharing with you folks. Therefore, some things just have to go. I acquired the enclosed items because I wanted to experience them, but now they need a new home. I know there won't be a better place than to send them to you. Enjoy, Tricia. P.S. You know I need to leave room for my Halloween candles. She's a big Halloween fan. She's purchased quite a few witches' cauldrons, wolf's banes, and fright nights from Kringle Candle. Tricia, if you're listening, thank you so much. I will certainly reach out to you personally, but that was a huge surprise, and what a way to conclude, in my opinion, a very successful Smell It Sunday. It ran long today, and if you're still with us, make sure we have 36 people in the house, 36 thumbs up, but if you haven't, hit that thumbs up button, and if you enjoyed this video or had fun this afternoon, turning into this evening, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed, make sure you do so. Make sure you tell your friends. Tell them that there's this crazy guy who talks about candles. Share the channel, share videos, find a video that you like. I have all different kinds of videos. Share them on social media. Let's spread the word so that we can grow together organically and keep this place a positive, safe, positive place where it's judgment-free and we can celebrate nostalgia. We can celebrate things that we, similar interests that we have, share our passion for candles. but also that we can get to a point where we can travel and go to extremely fun places that'll warm our hearts, places that we've never been, places we wish we could go, places we've been to when we were children. I want to really push this nostalgia thing in my travels, and you guys are making it possible. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, spread the love, spread the word, and make sure you show some support also to the candle companies today. Which City Wicks, Scent Pop Candle Company. I think you guys already share your support for Yankee Candle. But definitely make sure, especially since Liz already said that she's willing to have a promo code for us for Halloween. She said anytime we want a promo code, we can do it. So it's a matter of me just pulling the trigger, saying when. That's pure generosity out of her heart. So make sure you show her love and your appreciation for that. She's a very sweet person, and I can guarantee you it will make her day to hear from you. So thank you so much for this lovely Sunday. I have a lot of cleaning up to do. I have some coffee to finish. I have some videos to edit. We got some summer candles coming up. If you haven't seen the Misty Mountains review, that's a part of the UK summer collection. But I also have Coconut Splash, and I have Tropical Jungle, and those have to be edited. And of course, we will be doing a Blue Twilight Storm. That's coming up very soon. I'm going to do a nice in-depth evaluation of that. And even though it's nowhere near Halloween, I know you guys are wanting it, you're begging for it, you're pleading for it. I'm gonna do a Witch's Brew retrospective, meaning I'm gonna show you every Witch's Brew candle from every year that I own. There's only a few, I think only one that I'm missing, and we'll take an up-close look. That video is gonna be my first 4K video. I'm gonna do a 4K video. So we have super up-close, detailed images of all of those Witch's Brew candles. And as we get closer to Halloween, I'll be doing the same thing for candy corn, trick or treat, and other candles that I have many of from different years, if that makes sense. Thank you all for joining. Thanks so much. Thank you for being a part of my life. It has truly enhanced my life big time. Thank you for being so kind and troll alert, even to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Do something fun. It's summer. Get outside and enjoy yourself. I will be seeing you guys soon. But until then, be good. Will you? Please? All right, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.